Someone else.
What is going on, everybody? It is episode 148 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I'm here with your co-host, my co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, crisis actors. It's Mary.
It is a hectic day in here, which is why I screwed up my intro. That hecticness is due to this man over here. Our guest
hecticness is all me. Well, actually, so the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. Wonderful.
We're just
day,
getting right into it.
Yeah, well, because of that, there's a video I have to upload. I needed to put finishing touches on it. We usually upload at like 1:30, 2 at the latest. It's 3 o'clock. Had a business call, so I've been back and forth trying to get this all touched up. And I got the video uploaded. Turned out there was a slight glitch in it. Need to fix that. And I'm literally uploading my video now as we speak, wearing the same shirt I wore on Timcast yesterday. What a mess, but I am glad to be here. And even though I had this going on, I made a commitment to do this podcast, and I like you guys, so I didn't want to ditch you.
And by the way, introduce yourself.
I am Seamus Coughlin of Freedom Tunes. I make cartoons at a YouTube channel called Freedom Tunes. And we're about to release one of them right now. This is the first ever time a Freedom Tunes video has been released while I've been on another podcast. This is how you hustle, ladies and gentlemen. You never stop the grind when you're doing cartoons on YouTube.
We're essentially just doing it, but flying by the seat of their pants, as they use.
We're always this hectic anyways.
Yes.
Well, good. Then I guess I fit in here.
Well, I was like, when he was coming in, I'm like, I'm not offended because I've seen him run up there at like 7:55 for IRL.
Yes.
So he's not always.
No worries.
It's all good. We have a bunch of stuff to talk about today. We're going to talk about Denise Richards and the slow moral decay of America, I guess you would say. We have.
Is it slow? Has that been slow?
It's kind of slow.
Yeah,
it's kind of slow. I have my own takes on this.
Now Brett finally is outnumbered by moralists on this show.
I am. Yes, I've picked it. Well, I picked this topic for that exact reason. I am going to be the person here saying,
what's the topic?
It's Denise Richards, the actress. Her daughter is 18 and joined Onlyfans.
That's very sad.
And she, what she did to be a supportive mother is she decided to join.
We'll get into it.
Yes, yeah, we'll get into it. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the ongoing saga that is Ezra Miller. In this story, it really is. It is mental illness Mad Libs. It feels like to me whenever we talk about this, and then we're going to get into Amber Heard and what her fans are doing is essentially amounting to wanting to silence people who disagree with them on the internet.
Wait, is that a thing people are into nowadays? Silencing people on the internet who disagree with? That's crazy.
They love that stuff.
Crazy.
Yeah. They love that stuff. We got that. We got Podluck. We got a bunch of other stuff. So if I know he's not ready, Mary, but if you're ready,
I'll make up for it.
We'll just get right into it. All right. So it says Denise Richards joins OnlyFans after feuding with Charlie Sheen over daughter Sammy. So yes, what it is they Sammy Sheen, which is Charlie Sheen and Denise Richards' youngest, or one.
They have a younger daughter named Lola who's 17, but Sammy turned 18 in March.
Yes,
and we covered this. I believe it was last week.
Yes,
she started her OnlyFans page and her father disapproved, obviously, in a very tepid way.
Yeah, barely what you'd call disapproval.
Yeah, he encouraged her to do it in a classy and creative way.
Whatever that means.
There's no such thing.
Whatever that
means. You cannot expose your naked body to strangers.
Right,
exactly.
Thank
you.
What else happened? Where did this money come from?
That's from Caleb Beshard on Super Chat.
So money gets sprayed out when you get a Super Chat.
Yes.
I'm not going to lie. That's pretty awesome.
This is all new.
I'll give you guys that one.
They don't do that on IRL, do they?
I thought that given the stress of getting this video done, like I literally lost my mind. I was like, oh.
Did money just shoot at me?
Yeah.
And you're not even Sammy Sheen. That's like money's literally being shot. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, low blow there. So basically.
So he got into an open feud with his ex-wife over this because Sammy did this while under her roof.
Yes.
And Charlie Sheen blamed it on that. And
Thank
also
you.
last year.
Is this every Super Chat?
Every Super Chat.
Every
Yeah.
Super Chat. Well, it doesn't seem as cool anymore. It's
No.
every single time someone
Charm
says
is
my
lost
name.
already.
Yeah, I know. It was like the first time it was
Damn.
really cool. Honestly, it's baller. Keep it.
It wears off after a while. Psych. No, it does not. It still freaks out several of the people who come here.
No, we
It
just
freaks
need
them
a
out every
crisis
time.
party, and then it'll.
Yeah, he
really
doesn't even know about
be a
that.
time. Yeah. So Sammy Sheen started it while under her mother's roof, and that's why Charlie Sheen decided to make a cheap shot at his ex-wife over it.
Which
but
is
he
sad.
didn't really care that his daughter was on OnlyFans.
They're making it about the
after all.
marriage, not about
Right.
their daughter's
It's
well-being.
an opportunity for them to argue with each other and point fingers, but not to actually show that they care.
No. I also like the part where Denise Richards is like, he doesn't have a right to judge.
Right.
And I'm
So-
like, it's not really matter. It doesn't matter if he has a right to. He should anyways because he's her dad.
And that gives
pushing
him the right
towards
to,
making
of
a good
course.
decision.
Yeah. And I didn't even think that he was disapproving in a way that, showed any conviction anyway. But the new development with this is that Denise Richards has come out against him again, and all of the other backlash that her daughter received for joining OnlyFans. So she posted this long open letter on Instagram that I'll read for you right now.
Yeah, read it.
She said, lots of negative comments on my social this past week. I have to say, I wish I had the confidence my 18-year-old daughter has. And I also can't be judgmental of her choices. I did wild things in Playboy. Quite frankly, her father shouldn't be either. And to be able to ignore the negativity at her age, it took me many years and I still sometimes struggle. I'm in awe of her ability to be able to shut out the noise because it can destroy you. I recently learned about OnlyFans in the last few months. The judgment that because women and men of the adult film industry are on there, I imagine they're on Instagram and Twitter as well. Is there really a difference between posting a picture of ourselves in a bikini on Instagram? We've all done it. I don't think we have. Because you get paid on OnlyFans? I'm pretty sure Instagram and Twitter and Facebook do quite well off of all of us. Is it so bad to control it and monetize it too? I'm sorry, but if I can get paid and at my age to see me in a bikini, God bless you. Perhaps I should open my own account. Oh, and those of you that are so judgmental, sounds like you might already subscribe to an OnlyFans account. Have a great weekend.
But this is all right. So there's a couple things to say here, and this is going to be very bold for someone without children. But there is, in reality, the possibility of commenting on something someone is doing that you consider to be a mistake when you yourself have made that mistake.
Exactly.
It's called parenting, right? Parents, every single person did something stupid when they were young.
Yep.
You should not want your children to imitate your stupidity, right? You should be able to look back at your life and go, shouldn't have done that, wish I hadn't done that, going to tell my children not to.
Right, it's
so
bizarre
I'll
to
give you an
me.
example. Like my parents used to tell me that they quit smoking, and my mother and father both smoked for many years. Can you imagine if I came home with like a pack of cigarettes at 14 and like, well, who am I to judge? I used to smoke cigarettes when I was younger.
Yeah, usually when those types of conversations happen with a child, it comes in the context of the child knows that what they did was wrong, and they're saying, "Look, I made the same mistake when I was your age," but that doesn't necessarily make it the right thing to do.
Right.
And again, I'm less on the moralist side here. Like if Denise Richards wants to start an OnlyFans, I say, that's your business. I do take issue with literally using your 18-year-old daughter's decision to choose to be on that platform as a way of like launching your page.
Also, well, and I just want to mention this. I know I'm really harping on this here, but has she heard of the concept of a cautionary tale? Does she recognize that like someone can have a story about something they did that they look back upon and say that was wrong, shouldn't have done it? Like people can learn from the choices they make. There's another point here too. She says, I'm sure a lot of these people have OnlyFans accounts themselves. Well, in typical fashion, the thief thinks everyone steals. This is always what happens when a social conservative or someone with any level of moral decency says, you should not be normalizing this sexually perverted behavior. The left says, oh, you're a secret pervert. Well, hold on a second. Why is it that the people who are pushing for more perversion in society are just decent, honest people who care about human rights and liberty, and to call them a pervert would be cruel and over the line?
Yeah.
But when you're dealing with people who want to promote moral decency, it's open season with the cheap shots, and you can make any and all insinuations about them sexually without any evidence.
Yeah. Also, I take issue with the idea that she's saying that what her daughter has is confidence. I would say it's naivete.
Yeah, she's naive.
It's a lack of like, and that's not her fault.
She's
It's
in
like,
awe of her daughter's ability to ignore her better judgment.
And like I said, if she wants to do it, I say, I guess legally that's fine. But I don't think the mom should be encouraging as if what she's doing is brave.
I mean, really, what made this more despicable is that she followed it up with a few posts now promoting her own OnlyFans
So
page.
that's what I'm saying. She's using it as
what
promotion.
she perceives to be standing in solidarity with her daughter and being like, if they're going to judge you, they can judge me too. We're in this together. So she has posted some racy pictures on Instagram herself, promoting her own page now. That, by the way, is $25 to subscribe instead of $20, which her daughter's is. So she's saying,
her
I am
daughter's
$5 more worth than my daughter's.
Well, and I want to say this as well. The left, we are at the stage of leftism where they start saying things that it sounds like me in disguise would say. So she mentioned, haven't we all posted pictures of ourselves in our bikini on Instagram? Yes, and you shouldn't. That's also bad. Yeah. That's also wrong. And that does lead us towards this kind of degeneracy. That normalizes it. So you shouldn't do that either. They're not equivalent, but I love when left-wing people almost get the point. Like, yes, the over-sexualization of our culture and the objectification of women has been bad. Yeah.
And plus, it's not like like you said, Charlie Sheen basically got like bullied into like then taking their side. In the one article where it's what was it here? It says like Charlie Sheen has done an about face with his daughter Sammy, now saying that he's withdrawing his objections to her OnlyFans. It's like a court statement.
Denise
almost
has illuminated a variety of salient points that in my haste I overlooked and dismissed.
And I don't buy that Charlie Sheen used salient in a sentence on his own.
Yeah.
I think somebody else wrote that.
Which is even more ghoulish, right?
Yes.
Now more than ever, it's essential that Sammy have a united parental front to rely upon as she embarks on this new adventure of amateur pornography.
There was some
From this moment forward, she will have it abundantly.
Well, and so here's the thing. It's complicated because when you're looking at other people's lives, you don't want to tear them apart. There's only so much we know. Mm-hmm. I think it's good to condemn this behavior. I think it's also worthwhile to point out that Charlie Sheen is probably not the most positive male role model to have in the home.
No.
I don't know the man personally, but just given what we've heard about him in the news, that's likely the case. We've gotten more super chats here.
Thank you.
So it's a sad situation. We can see what happens when there is not a strong father figure in the home. And I'm sorry, but if he's allowing this in any sense, then he's not a strong father figure.
The thing is, he's not in the home at all.
Yeah.
Now, when we were covering this last week, I mentioned that Sammy made a TikTok last year where she claimed that she was in an abusive household while she was with her mom, but she dropped out of high school and claimed to have moved out. Now she's back with her mom, who she claimed was abusive. It's very unclear. She's not going back into school, and she's decided to go down this route.
Charlie Sheen is not an unwealthy person. Like, it's very interesting. Like, I would love to know the motivation behind someone who perhaps didn't
It's not financial desperation, that's for sure.
And that was the old trope, right? That people only joined these industries if they were desperate for money.
Often that is true.
But here, that doesn't seem to be the purpose for her choosing to do so. I'm sure both him and Denise Richards have done very well in their lives.
Right.
I don't know what Denise Richards gets for her appearances in like the movies and television shows she's done, but Charlie Sheen, certainly with 2.5 Men, is making residuals on everything that he's made.
Well, the whole thing is so sad for everyone involved. Can you imagine your wife and your daughter, putting themselves out there nude like that for everyone to see? That is a nightmare.
There's a caveat to me that it's not nude. As far as I know, it's not full nudity from what they said in those pages. That it's just. But
either way,
but they're still monetizing.
In order to retain subscribers on that platform and not have them unsubscribe, you do have to continue posting more and more explicit content, which I believe is like almost inevitable.
Yeah. So I don't know if this is something that Charlie Sheen kind of has. Is this karma? I mean, I don't know what the religious take on karma is, but given
not a Catholic
it's
concept.
Some interpretation of that, because when I wrote my article on this last week, I said it's definitely like ironic at the very least that after his reputation for unbridled sexual debauchery in his youth, now his kid has gone down the same path, and he doesn't approve, but he's getting forced into a corner to act like he's okay with it because of the precedent that he has set in the culture.
So it says, Sammy living with Denise comes just months after Richard said that the mother-daughter duo had a strained relationship back in February. She appeared on Jeff Lewis Live and said at the time that the teenager was still living with Charlie. So now did she move out of his place back in with her so that she knows she's around a parent that finds the behavior less of a problem?
Yeah, I think she's just seeking approval and attention at this point.
So how do you get somebody away from something like this? How do you, like, I don't know if that's actually possible.
Pray for them.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, you really can't do anything.
the money's too good.
It's not even the money. It shows that she has
2,000.
she doesn't need for anything materially. What she needs is love and attention, and she's not getting it clearly.
And a lot of it is just that people are addicted to the attention that comes from stuff like this, right? So she has 2,800 subscribers, all paying $19 or $19.99 a month. I think I said if that was like what 50%, if OnlyFans took 50% of it, that would make her like $300,000 a year. Is that really worth the? You know, I'm not the I'm not the moralist here. I'm just looking at it more from like a thinking long term, like about what your prospects are. Granted, her parents are in the entertainment industry, so she's going to be around this kind of behavior anyways. But the average person isn't going to be able to do this in like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it's not a career, clearly.
Not long term.
At least, you know, I hope that she realizes it can't be something long term, because if she's going to realize that in order to maintain relevant on this platform, she's going to have to keep taking it beyond the boundaries of what she's comfortable with.
Yeah. And she may wake up one day and realize that it's past the point of where she can't control it. She has to either stop then or keep going. And then the best thing you could say is, like, at least she's her own boss and she can make the decision to quit and stop, rather than you know, being owned by a production company or being owned by an agent or something that you would owe money to if something failed or fell through.
Sadly, being the child of two entertainers,
Thank you.
I don't think she understands that she can have a normal life, and they're also using her as a pawn in their own disagreement.
The marriage, the kids always suffer, as we know.
You know, I can't speak too much to the individual circumstances here, and I mentioned that earlier. I made one point about Charlie Sheen, but for the most part, I don't want to get into any individual person's life. I just think overall it's a very sad phenomena that we've seen repeatedly in this culture, the hyper objectification and sexualization of women. And you made a very good point, Mary. You mentioned that this is almost certainly not about money. There are plenty of ways to make money, and some women will talk about doing things like this merely as means for financial gain, but ultimately there does have to be something deeply hurting within a person to be willing to subject themselves to the public eye in such a way that cheapens their body.
And I asked earlier, I said, when we were talking about this off air, Dane was making the point, you said, like, what, 90% of women who work in the adult industry are sexually abused. I don't know if those statistics are still accurate, but I do believe that in an era where we have cheapened what we do, what our bodies mean, that a lot more people are willing to do this without having gone through something like that, because the attention that they receive is also an addiction of sorts.
So here's what's happened culturally. The side that wants to degrade and destroy everything beautiful accuses the side that wants to preserve those things of not valuing them.
Yeah.
So you'll hear things like, you don't really appreciate the human body, or you hate sex, something along those lines. No, I actually think those are unbelievably beautiful gifts from God. I think that because they are so incredible and powerful, we need to be very careful about how we use them. Your spouse should be the person who sees your nakedness, not every stranger on the internet. And I'm sorry, but if you don't believe that that kind of behavior makes people miserable, you have not paid attention to this generation and the generation before it, and how the sexual revolution has completely destroyed their sense of dignity.
Yep. And people seem generally, whether it's because of social media as well, but people seem a lot unhappier than they were in times past. And in general, we talk a lot about, you know, how much of this is mental illness in these industries, and then social media just exacerbates the condition for a lot of them. So
yeah, well, and again, I really want to point out that this is very sad. You know, I'm fortunate that I was brought up in a good home, and there were years of my life where I didn't take my faith very seriously. And whether you're a person of faith or you were just fortunate enough to have a childhood where your parents instilled positive moral values in you, you can relate to this, that you will see people who come from households where decency is not promoted, And when they grow up and do these kinds of things, you can get angry with them. I think some people do, but I just really feel bad for them. Because if my parents, and angry for them, honestly, I'm so fortunate that I was shown where the lines are. And even then I wasn't perfect and made a lot of mistakes and did a lot of things that I regret. I mean, it's just so sad what's happening here.
Yep. Want to do super chats?
Yeah.
There's some good ones in there.
On that note, Caleb Sherd said, Seamus, secret boss of Timcast confirmed. He is everywhere.
We check the security cameras. He's everywhere.
I run Timcast. I'm
Caper
sorry.
2X said, run Brett, the Irish Inquisition and darkness.
Your darkness.
I'm the darkness.
He's the Irish Inquisition. It says so with the little clover that's on his name.
Yes. Yeah. Did you notice your little shamrock?
Do I have a little shamrock?
Yeah.
No,
you have a little shamrock on your logo.
Oh, that's very sweet of you guys. Shamcast.
Soci Hobbit said, Potato Man on Pop Culture Crisis. Best episode ever.
Thank you. So, let me tell you
you.
something. I actually very much appreciate that. I appreciate the love and that they are happy that the Potato Man is.
He will not join OnlyFans.
No,
because
I
of
will
all
not
the
do
love.
that. Look, I'm already getting my dollar.
Right? Mm-hmm. Neil Sawyer said, damn, you've messed up when Charlie Sheen is the voice of reason.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think he
went
ever,
back on it.
Yeah, he stepped back pretty easily, which is sad. They kind of shamed him out of feeling like he has any authority in the situation.
Well, likely what they did was they're like, who are you to judge? And he's like, yeah, I
mean, it is true, but that's where a teaching moment happens.
All the hypocrisy in the world today, and he couldn't have held on to the hypocrisy for like the good of his daughter.
Yeah.
Well, but this is also the question: why is it that a person is not able to make a mistake in their past and truly repent of it? Why can't a person have done something wrong but then turn around and say, hey, I shouldn't have done that. I learned from it. That's a massive part of what being a human being is about.
We talk a lot about how redemption isn't valued anymore.
No, it's
in
not.
society.
And that's
the saddest part.
Well, and it's because the cultural revolutionaries want to use your past against you instead of acknowledging that you've grown. Because if they acknowledge that you have grown, that means that they're able to. But because they're unwilling, they can't accept that possibility. So they need to destroy you. They need to say that your past defines you. And I'm telling you, in the audience, it does not. Whatever you have done in your life that you regret, it does not have to define you. You can repent. You can come to Christ. You can have your sins forgiven. You can become a different person. And I would say the same thing to Charlie Sheen or anyone else. It does not matter what you've done. It doesn't have to define you. Do not listen to the people who will want to hold it against you for the rest of your life.
That's why you don't apologize to large groups, because they don't actually want your apology.
No.
Next.
Caper2X said, Seamus has bikini pictures on Instagram?
So I have regrets. That's not one of the regrets.
Everyone's doing
Yeah,
it.
It's a private page.
I love that she's projecting so hard. She's like, we've all done it. And I bet you're all subscribed to OnlyFans accounts too. Like, no, we're not actually.
Again, the thief thinks everyone steals.
Yep.
Andrew Arno said, yo, Mary, wash our merch on Cold and Dry Delicate. And F OnlyFans, join our antisocial bad app when we launch soon.
Perfect.
Yeah, the hoodie I'm wearing right now is from Bad App. It says canceled. I don't know if you guys can see.
Oh, here, I'll go
There
full
you
screen
go.
for you. Check it.
Yeah.
Very good.
I just got some merch from them in the fan mail.
I
Thank
said
you.
Mary looks like she's just like 15 years old walking out
Just
of a Hot
walked out of
Topic.
the Zoomies.
She does. She looks
Hello.
like she's literally about to go walk into a sharper image and play with one of those toys that break.
I'm about to eat a soft pretzel.
Yes. Oh, that sounds so good.
Hava Owens said, PR stunt mixed with trauma and mental illness.
Oh, yes.
Yep. Joseph said, what a day, am I right, Shimmy? Head pats all around.
I know. Look, it's been a crazy day. I'm very happy. This video is basically up. There's one more thing I have to do to promote it. I'm so sorry.
It is my
I've
it has
consumed.
been given my mandate at work to keep politics as much out of this podcast as possible. So we're gonna avoid the.
This is just like
I'll say
moralizing
plenty
and,
about it.
and
No. I'm so like I pitched a segment earlier for the vlog where it's literally Mary coming out from up here in a miner's outfit. Like I was wading through all the celebrity virtue signaling about abortion, trying to find stuff to talk about today. Because that's what it's going to
digging for any story that
Anything.
isn't related to Roe v. Wade.
Gosh, my goodness.
Dizwiz sent 2001 and said, it's pop culture Catholics time. Hell yeah!
But
I mean,
this
heaven
is-
yeah.
This is the other point that I like to make about this too is a lot of the things that I say, you absolutely don't have to be Catholic to believe it. I think the Catholics are fighting, the good Catholics are fighting the most strongly for these values. But I mean, come on, it's not as if all non-Catholics are out there doing this kind of thing, posting half-nude pictures of themselves online.
Believe it or not, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, we're appealing to common sense, and I think most people sympathize with what you're saying. Waffle Sensei said, wow, Seamus, can't believe you're here, bro. Congratulations on the landmark decision today in the courts. Be well, brother.
Yes, I know, thank you.
It's all Seamus. He did it.
It was me. It was because of my cartoons.
Oddly enough, me and Seamus went and recorded a whole thing for timcast.com
that's right.
at the March for Life rally this in like February. So that was I was like, when we were there, I was really surprised because, you know, like I didn't have a past inclination to be at a pro-life rally, and I was like, all these people are so like young and not old and stuffy.
They're happy and they're doing something creative and not destructive.
I said that to him. I was like, all the kids look really happy, and I swear every one of them like said "I love you" to their mom when they were on the phone. Like,
totally.
No, it's true. And by the way, I got to give Brett a shout out on that one because I was also a huge pain that day. I'm sure I was late with things. And look, when you're running a business by the seat of your pants, things get a little crazy. But yeah, you took me out there. I think we did a fantastic job with the reporting that we were doing. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, you meant it was great to see the March for Life through the eyes of someone who doesn't generally attend pro-life events because people are taken off guard. They assume it's going to be a bunch of old curmudgeons.
That's what I thought it was going to be.
And it's
really
young people.
I don't know. I can't say. I don't know what I thought it would be, but I didn't think it was going to be a bunch of like kids and young adults. So.
Yeah.
One more.
Andrew Arno said, Seamus, thanks, Dad. Is this your son?
I told you I did some things I regretted when I was younger, and he is my son, and he's chatting in, and I don't regret him, but I should. No, I'm totally kidding. I shouldn't even joke like that.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna move on. We're gonna continue with the ongoing saga that is Ezra Miller. The Hollywood.
Oh, are you sure we're not gonna do Amber Heard?
We're doing Ezra Miller then Amber Heard.
Oh, okay.
So we're gonna do. It says. Guns, bullets, and weed. Ezra Miller housing 3 young children at their mother at Vermont farm. His
Brett was like, "You had me in the first half." Not gonna lie. Then I heard Ezra Miller. Yeah, and they kind of ruined it. Huh?
I heard guns, bullets, and weed, and I'm like, libertarian hero. Are you kidding me?
Ezra Miller
amazing.
Is the libertarian icon we didn't know we needed.
It's like, I loved him so much until I heard about like the cult behavior and the abusing kids and all the awful stuff.
He's the hero that we deserve.
Guns, bullets, and weed. You know, I'm right there with you, man. So it says Ezra Miller has been hosting a 25-year-old mother and her 3 young children at their Vermont farm, a living arrangement that worries the children's father, as well as 2 others with knowledge of the situation, Rolling Stone has learned. 2 sources with knowledge of the situation expressed concern to Rolling Stone that it is an unsafe environment for children, alleging that there are unattended guns strewn about the home of 96 acres of property that he owns. One source, who like the other requested anonymity for the fear of retribution, and we know this would happen because Ezra Miller would throw a chair at you if he were to find out that you were either a woman or disrespected their pronouns. The other requested
seems he's moved from Hawaii to Vermont.
Yeah, but the mother and the 3 children are from Hawaii.
So he took the children and the mother to Vermont, but the dad is still in Hawaii, and he's trying to deal with the local police in Vermont to get his children out of this situation.
It says he recalled one of them recalled one instance where a child, a 1-year-old, allegedly picked up a loose bullet and put it in her mouth. Totally normal. This is totally great. This is 9.
Safe.
There's nothing bad could possibly come of this situation. But the mother, who, like the father, Rolling Stone is not naming, claims that Miller had helped her escape a violent and abusive ex, and Miller helped me finally have a safe environment for my 3 very young children. Do you want to give everyone a recap of just who he is, just in case they don't know?
Just who Ezra Miller is?
Who has provided the safe environment?
Okay, sure. So he's supposed to star in The Flash, which has been postponed because of his string of scandals, mainly physically attacking women.
Lots of women have been like, it's like anytime he sees a woman, he's like, I think I have to beat her up.
Men too. So he's been in Hawaii just wreaking havoc, absolutely wreaking havoc. He has thrown a chair at a woman in a bar. He's charged at a man who is playing darts.
Chokeslammed the woman in Iceland.
He chokeslammed a woman outside of a bar in Iceland. That was the first scandal that happened. He had a restraining order filed against him by a couple in Hawaii.
Where
they
he
eventually dropped it.
He broke into their house and he called her names and he yelled at the husband.
It also came out that back in 2016 he met a 12-year-old when he was 23 and they struck up a beautiful friendship.
Because lots of 23-year-olds have friendships with 12-year-olds.
He flew her out to London when she was 14 and allegedly fed her alcohol and drugs.
And shared a bed with her completely innocently, I'm sure.
Yep, has been traveling around with her also since she dropped out of
high school,
yes.
And she's
18
there
now. Her parents filed a protective order against Ezra Miller, and he has not been served those papers yet.
Which is weird because now we know where he is.
Here's another thing.
So wait, is he under any kind of active investigation for that?
There are several police departments like looking to serve him protective orders. One for
there's another one who is currently 12 years old who is also a target. So
read that Daily Beast article. It is the most insane thing. He yells at a woman who calls her family her tribe and says she's appropriating culture, and then goes off about
appropriating. What was it? Jamaican culture?
Rastafari, about the Rastafarian roots
culture.
of Parcheesi.
Yeah,
of the game Parcheesi. It's literally mental illness Mad Libs.
He comes back to their property in a cowboy costume. It gets crazy. It keeps getting more and more wild.
And he keeps telling the children, he's like, your child has a lot of power. They would be blessed to let me lead them.
He was trying to befriend this other 12-year-old, telling them that they should who, by the way, identifies as non-binary. Not sure what correlation that has.
Both that
so
child
does Tokata ironize the aforementioned former 12-year-old, telling this other 12-year-old that they should get into the fashion world.
He's still employed, by the way.
So hold on. What? Well, okay. I know just exclaimed shock, but I really shouldn't be that shocked.
It is Hollywood.
Because this is Hollywood, right?
But yeah.
I don't really pay much attention to the popular culture, believe it or not.
It's probably better.
Which is why I was pretending I had a video to upload. It was just because I didn't want to look dumb, you guys. I don't know this pop culture stuff. No, actually the video's up now. But this guy, so Ezra Miller, has allegedly been sexually abusing people. You said he's physically assaulted people, and we know this.
Yes.
He's also clearly a groomer because
the
he
physical
has a 12-year-old.
Very clearly
confirmed.
Yeah.
All the grooming are... that's just allegations.
Okay. So there has been no investigation into this. I think you said something about several police departments wanting to...
Well, right now, I think that the Vermont Police Department in his area is looking into the current situation because the Hawaiian father is trying to get his 3 children out of his farm property.
Wait. His children are actually with Ezra.
His 3 children between the ages of 1 and 5 are at this property right now, and allegedly there are loaded weapons and bullets strewn about the floor everywhere.
I'm so sorry. I know you were just talking about this because I have a memory of you saying something about a child putting a bullet.
Yeah, the child put a bullet in their mouth. There was
according to anonymous sources.
I'm here now. I am here now, but that is unbelievable. And so why? I mean, what's happening? Why is the legal system so slow to act here?
I don't know if there's anything they can do. The mom is not. I mean, you could say that
to
she
our
took
knowledge,
the
he
kids
still
away from
hasn't been served the papers regarding Tokata Iron Eyes. The protective order.
So the first one that we were talking about, the woman that he met when she was 12 and then he was 23, she is now 18 and ran off from her private school with him, and they've been trying to find him to serve a protective order that was filed by her parents to get him to not be able to go around
Who knew
her.
about their communication this whole time, by the way, for 6 years.
So the parents knew about all this. Why did they not do anything to put a stop to it?
We asked that question. Nobody else seemed to be asking that question.
What kind of parent is allowing their 12-year-old to have conversations with a full-grown adult?
They're activists.
The mom and the dad are both activists. They're both, what was it? Was it Sue? It was an Indian reservation.
Yeah, they're on Standing Rock in,
Yes.
I believe, South Dakota.
Yes.
They're environmentalist activists, and also Tokata, their child, is a child activist who had met Greta Thunberg, coincidentally,
So
as well.
thank you. So, it
So
says,
these are like the types of people who
Yeah,
will just
yeah.
ignore that some star who is like over a decade older than your child is just
like Elvis. and-
randomly friends with your kid, flies
That's
them out to
disgusting.
another country.
So it says Rolling Stone has also learned that there's a sizable cannabis farm on Miller's property, with Miller's close friend and purported handyman Whitney Sutters claiming, I believe that was the name we heard before. Oh, well,
Take one. I
yes.
can only have one of these.
you can only take one. We need to know.
What
Okay.
color are you going to choose?
Well, if I can only take one, can I have like half of?
No.
Right.
you have
For
to
those
take a full
listening
one.
on Spotify, he's looking at a jar of Sour Patch Kids that have red and blue, and it's a critical decision which
We need to
color
know
is he
what
going
you're-
to
I think there is more red, or I think there's more blue left, so I'm gonna take a blue one.
because I
How's
keep
that?
eating the red.
You
that's
took
why.
blue. That's interesting. Write that down.
Interesting,
Write that down.
interesting.
All right. All right,
I'm
so it
blue.
says Rolling Stone has
Da-ba-dee-da-ba-da.
reviewed text messages between the father and a number registered to a Vermont social worker who said in a text that they had visited the house on May 16th and the kids looked good, noting that the worker that there was more work to do. It's not clear if the social worker returned to the home. In a request for comment, DCF said it does not provide information regarding visits to homes. That's for the safety of the
Social
children.
workers are so useless, dude.
It's the latest concerning situation Miller's found themselves in after two sets of parents have reportedly sought protection and restraining orders against Miller, whose recent behavior has potentially put any future involvement in the superhero franchise in very serious jeopardy for the Flash. So this is earlier this month. Okay, then they get into Dakota Iron Eyes. So this doesn't end anywhere but badly.
We keep saying, like, no, it can't possibly get any worse than this.
And it gets nothing but worse every time this happens.
Like, when the Tokata thing happened, we were like, all right, this is it. That's when they're going to scrap this movie. They're not going to release this movie.
So wait, they're still actively producing the film that he's
the
in.
film
It's
is
done.
done.
It's been done.
It's in post-production, and it comes out next year. Now,
Yeah.
what I said, look, it takes a lot for me to be morally outraged, or at the very least concerned, right? And I was like, they need to just, even from a PR perspective, you need to just scrap it.
But I want you to imagine he had said something racist on Twitter 10 years ago.
Yes, well, he'd be very canceled. In the midst of the unfolding crisis, the children's father claims to Rolling Stone that Miller secured a flight out of Hawaii for the woman and children, alleging without the father's knowledge. So without the kid, without the dad knowing this is happening to their kids. If he had no history of this behavior, you could make the argument that he would come out looking like a hero of sorts if the father was actually
If the father
abusive.
is abusive, as the mother is claiming.
But we know that Miller is not without his many
even
scandals.
then, it kind of would be like none of his business
Yeah.
because what it seems
Is he
he's
in a
been
relationship
doing-
with her?
Right,
Yeah.
no. What it seems he's been doing is just traipsing about Hawaii, meeting a bunch of random people and entrenching himself in their lives in a very like intrusive and predatory way, especially when children are involved.
Also, the pot farm is not legal, according to what I was reading here.
No. They literally went and found the list of like licensed
Cultivators.
yeah,
of
people who can sell to like wholesalers in Vermont, and he's not on the list.
So he's starting the business and growing with hopes that they'll get
It's called
approved for
Rebel
license,
Alliance Cannabis.
which is a horrible.
like,
yeah.
what's next? Are you gonna acquire Black Rifle Coffee, dude?
You should- it sounds like a Star Wars, like Rebel
Alliance
sounds very Star
Cannabis?
Wars. Maybe he's going for a Star Wars role. Maybe that's what he really wants. So it says, but then again, the statement from the mother who flew with her kids out of Hawaii back in April after facing numerous accusations of disruptive or illegal behavior in the state. So he literally was like chased out of Hawaii because they can't stand him.
I don't even know what to say anymore.
It doesn't end anywhere but badly.
because I just feel like the stories are not gonna stop coming out.
Oh, there was also the weird messages where he deleted his Instagram. And he's
I
like,
mean,
I'm
yeah.
in another dimension.
You can't find me and serve me these protective papers.
He was like bragging on social media that they couldn't find him to serve him the legal documents.
He doesn't want to deal with their
Smart.
negativity, he said.
But, all right,
Their
so-
negative vibes.
But whenever people use that kind of language in these really egregious high-stakes situations, it just goes to show you what the cultural vernacular is doing to people's minds. Like, I don't like all the negativity. I'm just going to focus on me. We have really programmed an entire generation to be as narcissistic as humanly possible.
Yes, that's a huge problem that I talk a lot about. I don't do as much of it on here, but one of my biggest pet peeves are the people who are like, focusing on me. I'm like,
there are more interesting things than you, believe it or not.
Yes, and that's not to say that you shouldn't focus on your career, focus on your health, but it's always done in this way that's very self-obsessed, and it always rubs me the wrong way. But I'm also one of those people, whenever I read stuff like that, I understand that my impulse is maybe not the most fair to what they're saying. I don't know what their situation is in that context, but it does feel like we've turned value into the notion of self-obsession and narcissism, and we've kind of gotten away from. But we also talk about like the glorification of mental illness, which I think a lot of this.
We've romanticized it.
Yes. People who are like, I beat my therapist today because they finally admitted I was like
not
the most screwed up.
physically, sorry.
Yeah. No,
but like the game of therapy.
Yeah.
Which is like, how can I stay here and not make progress for as long as possible?
They never actually
want to make progress.
But this
situation, it seems to be mental illness, likely substance abuse, having no morals, and unlimited power and money.
Yep. The money obviously plays a huge role in it. But my problem here is that Warner Brothers hasn't made a statement. That when Depp lost the trial, not the recent one, the one before, The Sun in the UK, they dropped him right but good and made a statement. They have yet to make a statement on all this. And I don't know if that's because David Zaslav just is waiting it out and wants to wait until the last thing happens and then scrap it all.
It's not going to stop.
Zaslav is like the smartest of all the people that I've seen of this crop of CEOs. Zaslav seems to have a really good handle on how to handle PR. So my thought is that he's waiting for something very specific to happen, whether that's they got to get out of their contract with him, whether they're going to scrap it all, but they need to do something.
I mean, I assumed,
from a public relations perspective.
Yeah, I assumed the reason that he ended up deleting his Instagram account was that he was in breach of contract somehow, not because he actually was smart enough to shut up.
No, because he's not. He's not shutting up. He's still insinuating himself into other people's lives.
Yeah.
Like, he's not having his own family. He's just creepily getting involved in other people's families.
And then he's like, leave me alone and let me do my thing.
Yeah.
Like, you're not leaving everyone else alone. You're involving yourself
and most of it is cult-like having her change her name. Like,
and I don't
it's
get
all stuff straight out of the cult playbook.
He's not, like, Tokata's parents claimed that he is like influencing their daughter's like gender identity because he identifies as non-binary and now Tokata identifies as non-binary as well, the same way he does.
Right? So this is pretty common. It's to be expected. Human beings have a natural desire to procreate. And so people who don't have children often want to mold other people's children in their own image.
Yeah.
And that's what we see with this kind of thing. Of course that's what happened. Of course it's grooming. Of course it's also a social contagion. I know no one's willing to acknowledge that. I mean, no one on the left, but there are a lot of even more moderate people who will say things like, I think we're seeing so much more of this because it's more culturally accepted. But that's ridiculous. And to straight up steal an argument from Matt Walsh here, if it were true that the number of non-binary and transgender people were static throughout all of history and our society's acceptance of that kind of behavior has only illuminated that they already exist rather than creating this mindset in people who would otherwise be healthy, then where was the astronomically high suicide rate for basically all of history? Because I think it's something like 40% of transgender people commit suicide. Yeah. And if you're telling me that is much of is like 40% of Gen Z is in the identifying as LGBTQ plus.
I don't think it's that high.
It's something. I think it was like 20%, and they were projecting it would be 40%.
I believe it was 21. Yeah,
21%, but they were projecting it going as high as 40% if the trend continues. If that's the case, the suicide rate would have been insanely high. Insanely high. But it isn't. So we know this is a social contagion. It's not surprising that a groomer groomed a child into accepting the groomer's sexual preferences. What a shock. Literally the entire purpose of grooming.
I mean, even if he's not outwardly sexually abusing these kids, I think I mean, it's interesting that you like take that angle about he's like trying to form other people's children into his image, because what I was thinking is that he's just so mentally stunted and like immature and deeply like spiritually stunted that he really believes himself to be on an equal playing field with someone who is a literal child. Like, he mentally is a child, but with unlimited resources and power and influence.
But I'm sure that is the case with many other people who are groomers.
Totally,
I'm sure a lot of them are psychologically juvenile.
There's also some very interesting arguments being made with people who are like, why aren't you They're like, one of the arguments on like the Yahoo one is like, sure, he did all these awful things, but you should respect his pronouns.
His pronouns, I saw that.
Like, I was like, even I, no,
that's
like,
a good one.
You can ask Mary. I did my best to be very respectful for like the first few stories, and then like, if he can't even stop himself from hitting women, I can't take the time.
And he's
to
using
adjust
it
my
as
speech.
something to bludgeon people with.
When the cops arrested him the last time,
He was threatening to like sue that, or he was saying that he
I'll
could be
report
like
it as a hate
charged
crime.
with a federal hate crime for calling him the wrong pronouns.
also said that I don't want a male police officer searching me. I want a female searching me. I identify as transgender, non-binary.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Ridiculous. Seamus, I want to know your take. Should they scrap this movie or just put it out and be done with him?
Are you kidding? Yeah. Well, I would say scrap it. I mean, I don't know if you'd want to have any involvement. Is he the star of it? He's not just an extra. This is built around him and his public
profile.
profile.
There's no scene that it doesn't involve him.
Yeah. I mean, is Hollywood going to take my advice? No. But I think it's best to get groomers and predators as much out of the culture as possible. And I don't think that we need to be sending the message that this kind of behavior will be rewarded.
Yep.
You have to ask the question, and I asked it earlier, what would they do if he said something racist? What if he had said something homophobic 10 years ago on Twitter as a joke? What do you think they'd be doing? Would they scrap an entire movie over that? Maybe not, but there'd be some kind of public
There would
shaming.
at least be pushback.
There'd be an apology.
Yeah,
It's also really
100%.
funny how most of the articles that report on this stuff are taking the very old school journalistic approach, where they're like, they just kind of they report what's happening, and they're not editorializing like so many would if this was something far less heinous,
It's
like
insane
racist.
how much power he's accrued.
No, but I've noticed that as well. They will take a very neutral approach to clearly heinous acts.
This article
Clearly
is very.
heinous acts.
This article is very, very neutral in the sense like it sounds ridiculous because what they're reporting on is ridiculous, but they're not editorializing or making their opinions heard. Now, if only they could do that for everything, we might be in a better place journalistically, but we're not.
No, because here's the thing: when it comes to cultural acceptance of homosexuality or abortion or any other.
Oh, this episode is
this.
getting so
Look,
spicy.
What I'm saying is cash money.
And we just
or
got
racism.
a crisis party.
BLM.
yay.
Whatever it is we're talking about, whenever we're talking about those issues, the role and responsibility of the journalist or columnist is to be an activist.
Yeah.
And ensure that certain political organizations and movements' interests are represented in their work. And to show that they, as a columnist or journalist, are very virtuous and good and have the correct opinions. How special.
Yep.
When it comes to children being abused, now we no longer have an obligation to condemn heinous behavior. And that's because the only behavior they condemn as heinous very often is behavior which is not, in fact, heinous, because they don't have a moral compass. They just go along with what they think they're supposed to believe based on the group they're in.
Maybe it's overly idealistic of me, but I would prefer they all just report it as neutrally as possible on all things and let the reader decide. But I'm just very acutely aware that that's not the way the world works.
Well,
it's not the way journalism works
well,
anymore.
I sort of understand your point there, but I think the issue is, unfortunately, we exist in a society where a person actually does need, to some extent, to editorialize on something like child abuse, because there's a large swath of the culture that is in favor of it or in favor of grooming and warming up to the idea. Ideally, we would have a functioning society where people say it is wrong to abuse children, and there would be no need to editorialize or point out the particular heinousness of that kind of crime because people would already know.
Well, that's what, like, so the idea here is that, like, what if they don't say he's doing this to children and that's bad, the average person should be able to just read he's doing this to children and know that that's
I mean, like,
bad.
journalistic integrity aside, I've been shocked that so few people are talking about this ongoing situation. It's getting worse and worse and
I
more
mean,
absurd. And
there
I
are
don't
articles.
see.
The articles are being written, but they're not getting this is not what's happening with Johnny Depp.
I'm not seeing a public discussion of it of any kind and it kind of just shows like how little it stands out in the culture, and also how little Ezra Miller differs from the rest of the entertainment industry.
Exactly. Well,
he blends
very
right
important.
in.
Yes,
he fits right in with the rest of them.
And that is the key point.
And
right?
it won't be pushed back on because there's a certain level of armor that comes with wearing a fashionable identity, which is why the
wearing
average person,
eyeliner and nail polish.
yes, which is why the average journalist,
is why you do it.
even if the journalist,
Right?
even if the journalist doesn't agree with him, knows that it's bad for his career to talk about this stuff because
Yeah.
the lobby will come for them and make their lives difficult. But at the same time, I don't see people defending him. Though I did see a comment in here in the super chats from someone saying that they talked to someone that was like defending him. Do you want to, we should go
Yeah,
to
let's
hold on.
Thank you for the crisis party.
Crisis Party.
They are not defending him.
Yeah.
They are defending the industry he is in by not acknowledging this has been a consistent problem.
Yeah.
More.
And so if editorializing is necessary on a story where all of us would agree
Yeah.
that what is being done is heinous, that editorializing would make sense in the form of highlighting that this is an industry where children are routinely abused. My goodness.
The money agrees with you completely.
Yeah.
The money is
It's
on your
usually
side.
light-
I know
lighthearted
this
enough
usually is
in
not
here
as serious
that,
a show,
like-
but we are talking. I mean, this is
Yeah.
not a lighthearted story,
No.
right? And so we have dollar
It's
bills
it's
being
a-
plugged
it's
in.
It
not-
has
it's the
been at
mashup
certain
I-
points, but
Yeah.
not now.
It's not the mashup we ever knew we needed, but I
Right.
don't know if that's necessarily what we needed.
So
Okay,
but
let's
yeah,
get to
it's-
super
they're-
chats.
They're protecting this guy.
Waffle Sensei said, "I'm sorry I didn't credit you, Mary, for the court decision. It's just that emo girls can't be real Catholics. Everybody says so. Well, my existence proves them wrong."
Ooh.
There you go.
Are they? Hold on. Are they challenging your right to exist?
Wow, they're invalidating my very existence.
I think that's wrong.
They're
I'm
telling
against
you
that.
you don't deserve to exist. They're saying.
I'm against.
Sosie Hobbit said, "Obviously Ezra is messed up, but the main point I'm getting from these stories is how messed up the parents of these children are."
That the ongoing theme here is parents that allow their children to be around somebody that's very clearly bad for them.
Yes.
Like
Well, it's because the parents think that they're friends with him. Like,
Yep.
that says something about you.
and
So-
the first thing that nobody was talking about when we talked about Dakota Iron Eyes is why was it allowed to get this bad for that many
6 years. They knew
Well-
that they were in communication.
So in this culture, this extremely narcissistic, self-centered culture, the most important thing you can be is liked. The most important thing you can have is status.
Yep.
And so if you're able to capture the attention of somebody who is well liked and does have status, you're going to do whatever it needs to take to hold on to that position that you have with them if you are playing by the rules of our culture. Our culture does not put as much emphasis on protecting your children as it does on being liked and being obedient to the dominant narrative.
Or they
So
see it as- or
this
they
is
s-
what we should expect from this culture.
Or they see it as somebody of status that can help their children achieve their own status
Which
later in
Yes.
life.
is exactly
Like-
what happened to Priscilla Presley
And
when she
Elvis.
was in a relationship with Elvis.
Exactly.
Hefty John Goal said, "Would anyone be surprised if Ezra Miller disappeared and returned Mrs. Doubtfire style? We can only hope tables and bars will be safe again, or at least Ezra is locked up and the key is thrown away."
You will once again be able to sing karaoke if you get Ezra
Yes.
Miller out of your state.
What was the karaoke story? I'm not
He
too
just
It's just whenever someone happened to be singing karaoke in a bar where he was, he physically attacked them.
What?
I don't know. I think he's just deeply disturbed, obviously.
Yeah.
Waffle Sensei said, "I had a couple friends full on defending Ezra Miller to me last Friday. I don't want to live on this planet anymore."
I would love to know what those arguments
Wow.
were. They're like, look, those
Please
kids
enlighten
needed,
us.
That bed needed one more
They're
person
like,
in
look,
it.
they them had a right to abuse people. That it's totally acceptable. Yeah, I'm curious what anyone is. Actually, I don't. You know, we don't have to be all that curious. Let's Google it. Let's Google the case for Ezra Miller and
Who
see.
is
Who is
defending
arguing
it?
for that, though?
Well, that's what I'm
mean, I'd
saying.
love to
There
know.
has to be.
There's got to be at least one op-ed that says in defense of Ezra Miller.
Right. Just
Well,
to be contrarian.
Because these outlets have to publish
Thank you.
rage bait, right?
Yes, they do.
So they're probably going to push this
Mm.
kind of article onto someone who like doesn't have much pull. Yes, you do have to write the pro.
Here's why Ezra
article.
Miller is just misunderstood. Okay,
poor
Thousand
lady.
Yeah,
Foot
exactly.
Deep End said, along with traipsing around Hawaii assaulting people, he's going around trying and in some cases succeeding in collecting children. So sick. But on a much brighter note, welcome to the show, Seamus.
Yeah, yeah.
Also,
great to be here.
he's a horrible representation for actual fans of
Yeah,
firearms and weapons. If like all the pro 2A people are like, we don't leave our firearms unlocked out of the cabinet where
He's
kids
literally
can get to them at
the
any
guy
time.
with shotguns on his marijuana farm
Yeah,
that every libertarian is talking about.
I was all for it until I heard it was Ezra Miller and
Oh,
it was
boy.
creepy and there was children involved and it was the creep. I was like, man, it's the guy who wants you to be allowed to be gay, get married on a weed farm. I'm that guy, but then all this comes in and I can't be that guy anymore.
I
That's a
cannot
problem.
wait
Can't
until the
believe that
next
moral
time I
degeneracy
get
led to more
into
moral
an online
degeneracy.
argument with a libertarian. I'm going to pull up this
Exactly.
article.
Oh, so you like Ezra Miller, huh?
Waffle Sensei said, I watch a show where people catfish child abusers, and every time they're asking the child abuser questions, they seem like a weird, stunted man-child.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, mentally, they're just psychologically stunted people.
One more there.
Hava Owens said, Seamus coming in like a hot potato with facts.
That's right.
Facts and logic.
Facts and
Look,
logic.
I don't like the racist comparisons. I think it's a little hurtful, but I appreciate you.
He's getting
causing
paid
respect.
well
Look
enough
at this.
for this.
I'm doing okay here. This is my payment for doing the show. But notice how they have their desks situated such that most of the money is going to land on them.
Yes.
I'm not going to make as much money off this as they are.
It's all
I don't even
big
know if there's going to be worth
scheme.
my. You know how much money I could be making right now doing other things? Look at this.
It's beautiful.
I only have $10,000 on this desk. This is,
All right, we're gonna talk about Amber Heard and we're gonna talk about censorship. So it says Amber Heard stands.
Thank you.
See stands. They are editorializing this article. Amber Heard stands seek to silence that umbrella guy over his coverage of actress's legal troubles. Launch petition calling on YouTube to end the monetization of targeted harassment. Full disclosure. I used to love that umbrella guy's channel. He's got one of the most unique voices you'll ever. He's got a great voice. If you ever get a
Never
chance to
seen
go
him.
listen to it, he used to do a
Is
lot
it
of
like
comic
Cry
reviews.
where he's like, number 15, Burger King foot lettuce.
No, he's
Amber Heard.
he used to do a lot of comic reviews and
The
stuff like
last
that.
thing you'd want in a Fairfax County courthouse is a defamation trial.
Nothing like that.
Okay, sorry.
So it says unable to accept that practically no one found Amber Heard to be believable and seeking to blame anyone else but their idol for her own loss. Fans of the supposedly former Aquaman 2 actress have launched a petition asking YouTube to take action against certain content creators, particularly that umbrella guy, by demonetizing their channel. He's made like 500 videos about Amber Heard going
It's
back to
pretty
like
crazy, but he's not an exception. A lot
No.
of people have made gobs of money off of that
and
situation.
his stuff goes back to like 2019, like well before the recent hubbub. So it says starting on June 20th by a Twitter user whose name is @LeaveHeardAlone. So that sounds like a real person.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
it's just like that guy I met, Amber Stan 11.
I like
Are
the
you
idea.
real? I mean, apparently you are real.
'Cause they're
I'm
not
staring
just-
right at you in the face.
They're not just defending Amber Heard. Their entire online personality revolves around defending
Yeah.
Amber Heard. Like, come on, you
Which
have to have a
definitely
little bit of
makes you
subtlety.
seem like a bot.
I
but
like the idea that it's actually just Amber Heard creating her own accounts.
She's got
and
like 5,000.
She's just got like a bot farm in her house,
Uh-huh.
where she's just like, I'm gonna make them love me again if it's the last thing I do. So it says so starting on June 20th by a Twitter user with the name @LeaveHeardAlone, the Change.org petition claims that YouTube content creators such as that umbrella guy are making thousands of dollars off videos which currently go against YouTube's own policies concerning targeted harassment. I don't really consider watching the trial and like commenting on her actions to be harassment. I consider that just biased, narrative driven.
I mean, I don't think that YouTube's policies about targeted harassment are fair in the first place.
No.
But they're trying to use social pressure to
Yeah.
make them bend the rules.
Well, look, this is just another example of a policy set up by a large tech company that sounds neutral to some extent, but every single person along the way who has any oversight leans to the left. And so you're going to end up with biased results. When you look at the way this kind of thing is enforced, it's plainly obvious that it tends to come down on one side more than the other. And you look at mainstream media outlets and the fact that they're able to make significant amounts of profit targeting individual private citizens. I bring Nick Sandman up a lot because it's worth repeating, but he's certainly not the only example of a person who was made the target of a large media story. that companies made a lot of money on with their outrage clickbait and, their sensationalist reporting.
Kyle
the fact
Rittenhouse,
that Kyle Rittenhouse, the fact that independent content producers aren't able to also be dishonest and smear people's reputations is unfair.
And
no, but in all seriousness, though, the fact that independent content creators are not able to comment on this stuff in the same way is a double standard. They obviously don't care about targeted harassment. What's important to them is ensuring that they have an excuse to shut down the channels of people who they want to shut down anyway, regardless of whether they're commenting on any specific person in a way that violates the vague terms of service.
And he was not targeted, like, he's not being like, he picked a side. He had the side that he believed was in the right, and he did his videos based on that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
It happened to be the popular position anyway.
Yes.
I believe he mentioned earlier that you used to not even be able to put Amber Heard's full name in a title without getting demonetized on YouTube.
You had to refer to her as AH in videos or your stuff got demonetized instantly.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Oh
was
my
that
goodness.
because
she's like that thing that shut our economy down for a while that you can't
I
say?
remember that thing vaguely.
Was the tide like more in her favor at the time?
The media was pushing back very hard to make sure that it stayed that way.
What is she, Voldemort?
And then they just decided overnight, like, yeah, let's just throw her under the bus. We can't.
Basically, I mean, I couldn't actually point out to you when that particular tide turned the most. Whether it was just because she was so unlikable at the trial. It's not like
it was before the trial.
So we had a guest on Timcast. Unfortunately, I'm blanking on her name. I apologize. I am sorry. Actually, let me do my due diligence and find it before I quote her.
Okay.
Okay.
But I'll quote her at the end after I found her name.
Got it.
What she pointed out was that they have found in studies and analyses that in a courtroom, if a woman is attractive, it works in her favor.
Yes.
Unless people believe she's using her attractiveness to deceive them, in which case it works very much against their favor. So it can go either way. And Amber Heard is a very attractive woman who is very clearly lying about a lot and trying to smear other people's reputations and destroy their lives.
And not a very good actor.
So that's kind of a prime target for people to turn against because it does encapsulate a kind of toxic femininity. I hate to use that phrasing, right? But it encapsulates what happens when an attractive woman misuses her gifts and becomes vicious. And most, if not all of us, have dealt with that kind of archetype at least once. And so when you watch Amber Heard, you're not watching Amber Heard, you're watching that one girl you knew in college who acted kind of like that, or who lied about one of your friends.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's why public opinion turned against her so hard? It really wasn't about her. It was about people's overall frustrations? Yeah,
well, because the initial story wasn't about her. It's true that we were looking at an individual person's circumstances, but the Me Too movement seized onto this and made it a broader conversation about the mistreatment of women, generally speaking. So it only makes sense that when she has been outed as someone who may be less than honest, the general public would respond with the continued abstraction of this individual case being extrapolated to the general discourse and say, oh, well, you know what? There are many examples we can also find of women using their feminine gifts to deceive, and so let's look at this through that context and relate it to the people who I know who are like that. In the same way that when you hear the story of an abuser, you think, oh, I've known guys who were like that, and it makes you angrier than you might otherwise be because you've known a woman who's been a victim of that, because you know a man who's behaved that way.
Also because they've pushed back so heavily to anyone that questions the idea that they could be guilty of something like that.
Well, yeah,
it doesn't happen, right?
The conclusion I came to
those
was
numbers
that,
are way overblown, they always say.
Yeah, the conclusion I came to ultimately was that, like, there had been resentment boiling up against Me Too for so long, and also just that you seem to not be able to criticize women anymore without being accused of hating all women.
Exactly.
So when you found out that you're, like, permitted to dunk on this one woman, people just went overboard with it.
Yep. I want to mention it was Dr. Chloe Carmichael.
Okay.
So that is who I'm quoting. Credit where it is due. And I agree. So you look at something like the Me Too movement. Here's how you know it's explicitly political, because it took something which is otherwise popular, which is the idea of protecting women. I mean, that's built into every man to want to protect women. And it turned it into, you have to believe any and every claim made by any and every woman about any and every man, which is so flat on its face absurd.
One thing I pushed back on a lot of times is there was a lot of conservatives that would always kind of conflate the idea of believe women and believe all women, which I very rarely heard believe all women. I always heard believe women, but the context of those are very different if you're talking to an uninitiated person.
But hold on, I'll push back on that a little bit, because believe women is a when did you stop beating your wife kind of thing to say.
Yep.
If I say that to you, I am insinuating, of course, that you don't believe women. You're a bad person, so I had to tell you that. So it's extremely condescending, and you're automatically putting the person on the defense, even with that phrasing.
Yep. And it's manipulative, and that's done by design.
Yeah.
So it says, citing NPR, the petition then goes on to invoke the image of Gamergate, because it's the thing that just will never die.
So hold on. I have to ask, was January 6th 9/11 or was Gamergate 9/11? Because
both of them.
I think Gamergate was more significant to the cultural consciousness.
Yeah.
I think we're at the place we're at now because of Gamergate.
Can I ask,
that
like,
launched it.
is it enough? Like, is it acceptable? Am I asking too much to say I just never want to have to think or talk about Gamergate again?
Adam
Too bad.
Adam Baldwin disagrees with you.
Yeah.
So it says asserting that to provide a template, there has been utilized to wait. Let me start from it. It says, citing NPR, the petition then goes on to invoke the image of Gamergate, asserting that it served to provide a quote template that has been utilized both to radicalize viewers to certain political philosophies and to harass and malign individuals, which eventually allowed that umbrella guy to make over 600 videos just about Amber Heard. A project.
Oh my goodness! Hold on, this man made 600 videos about Amber. I will say that's a
You're
little
like, you
excessive.
know what? I'm signing the petition.
You know what? Let me go over
Send
to
me the
Amber Heard
link right now.
A project that has earned him approximately $80,000 in May of 2022.
Wait, hold on. Made how much?
$80K in May.
In 1 month?
Yes.
I'd
hate Amber Heard too for $80K a month. And that's the thing. We always felt that we took one of the more measured takes on this whole trial, right? That we did not get insane views because we weren't on like the randomly just hate her for the sake of hating her. I was like, look, you know, she's kind of awful. She's definitely awful, but he's too smarmy and like
they're both entertainers who are self-obsessed.
And in the end, this will change nothing about the culture because they live in a different world than we do. So.
Well, I also love how like Gamergate is when misogyny started.
It just at Gamergate.
First time. No, I will say Gamergate was very culturally significant. It's almost embarrassing to reference it because it seems like this sort of cringy artifact of 2014 internet culture. But look, it was very important for consumers to stand up and actually have their voice heard and say, first of all, there is corruption in game journalism, as niche and unimportant as that may sound,
right?
But also you can't just accuse people of misogyny because you don't like what they're saying. That's all true.
It should be noted that the Washington Post report, so poorly authored by infamous staff reporter Taylor Lorenz, that it eventually required 2 corrections to bring it into line with basic journalism ethics, cites the upper potential limit of an income range between 4.9K and 79.1K. They're basing that off his Social Blade. That I don't know how accurate that is to what he's making.
It's not always.
Who's,
no.
You guys hear that?
On that umbrella guy's.
Who is that?
You hear that knocking at the door? Why did you mention Taylor Lorenz?
I didn't. Who mentioned
it? It was mentioned in the report.
Oh no.
Nobody's home.
We've tried to stay away from Taylor Lorenz here. So further, the petition further accuses Tug of being, quote, invested in continuing his mass production of harassment videos revenue model, moving on from Amber Heard and instead targeting Evan Rachel Wood, who was a teenager when her abuse started. She was 19 when she was dating.
Well, that's also still
Marilyn
all
Manson.
alleged.
Yes, she was 19 when she was dating Marilyn Manson. This is also an interesting thing to talk about when you think about like allegations, because all the stuff against Ezra Miller is also still allegations.
Yeah.
But my take on it is more as like, how do you be Warner Brothers and put up with all this? Not necessarily is he guilty or not. He deserves his day in court, but you know, it's all like,
it's about PR and his failures are piling up.
So it says on both social media and in the HBO documentary Phoenix Rising, Wood has accused Manson of behaviors ranging from brainwashing to sexual assault and blamed the music industry for enabling him. It sounds familiar as well, doesn't it?
Let's blame the film industry.
Yeah, for Ezra.
Yeah.
Yep. So I wanted to do super chats because I don't really know what to say other than they're very clearly targeting him because he's making money off something that they want to get people away from.
Let's get into the super chats. Gray Pilled said, "Loved you in the vlog, Mary. LOL. Thank you." I played a scary ghost girl, but that's just real life.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I don't
Waffle
think you were
Sensei
playing a
said, "I
character.
said he tried to get in a bed with the kid at age 14, and they said, but did anything happen?"
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
What kind of a response? Yes, yes. Him
That
getting in
happened.
bed with a 14-year-old is something happening. That is
Bro, nothing makes sense
completely
anymore.
indefensible.
Source, bro.
But this is what they do. All right. This is something we see a lot in the present culture, which is something happens which is completely inappropriate, completely over the line, completely obscene, even abhorrent. And the response is, well, it's not confirmed to be the worst possible version of that thing. It could have been. Therefore, why even worry about it? That's more or less the approach to issues
To
on the
be
other side.
fair,
Yeah, to be fair, we don't really know. It's like, I don't need to.
and this is one of the things. Like I don't know if that person was just a contrarian and just wanted to be like, well, yeah, well, did he pull his pants down or did he just get
I mean,
into bed
it's
with a
still a
14-year-old?
weird joke to make.
Why
I
is
don't
he in
know.
bed with a 14-year-old at all?
Yeah.
No, yeah, exactly.
Next.
Some guy named Dave Font said, "Seamus is an American treasure, and I
Oh.
love him."
You're very kind.
He's not
And
American.
also,
What are you
I
talking
knew it.
about?
I knew someone was going to go there. This is the first time I've ever been referred to as a citizen of the nation of my birth, and I appreciate you and I honor you for that. Thank
Don't
you.
lie. I'm a birther. I'm a Seamus birther.
Where's my birth?
Where's the birth certificate?
It's
I need
true.
to see it.
Joker says, "Seamus, are you and Mary a thing, or is Mary with someone else and you're actually with Brett?"
Yes.
No, yeah. So first of all, no, we're not a thing.
If you consider enemies a thing,
if you consider she's a birther, it doesn't. Believe
I
that
need to
was
know where
born in
Seamus's
the
birth
United
certificate
States.
is.
I'm a
Otherwise,
Seamus birther for
She
life.
is a Seamus birther. Look, I've told you this. I've told you this once. I've told you this again. I have a birth certificate. It's not. I don't have it with me right now. It's I'll bring it next time for sure.
I have like a schizo blog that's like trying to prove that he was born in Ireland.
a fantastic conspiracy theory we could start our own of here. It'd
Yeah.
be fantastic.
Caleb Sherd said, "I would love to have a religious and spiritual conversation with Seamus because I was raised Protestant and became a minister at 18, but as of the last 4 years became an eclectic pagan."
Interesting.
That's an interesting journey for sure.
Well, let me tell you, my friend, it's very difficult for me to find the time to engage with a lot of these things, but send me a DM. I'd love to look over whatever you're saying and try to give you some feedback. I'll definitely keep you in my prayers. I would just, I love my Protestant brothers and sisters. I understand why you left Protestantism. I do. I believe you should become Catholic. They're accusing us
I
of
love
being.
this episode.
You're accusing us of being. They're accusing us of being pagan anyway. So
This episode went off the rails a long time
if
ago.
you
That's
become
fine.
Catholic, your
We're throwing
friends,
it to
your
the
Protestant
wind.
friends will still call you pagan. But in all seriousness, man, DM me. I'd love to talk to you. I do not believe paganism is the way, but God bless you. I will pray for you, and shoot me a message on Twitter.
There's one more
We
there.
got another one.
Yep.
Caper2x said, "But you would make such a cute couple."
She means me, and they mean me and
Yeah.
Seamus. That's what they
Yeah.
mean.
I agree.
Simple.
All right, we're going to go on Podluck, and I want to talk about Netflix here really quick. It says Netflix axes another 300 staff, taking total layoffs to more than 450 people, all in 1 year because of one bad stock report. So it says Netflix has laid off an additional 300 employees. The news Thursday comes after deadline revealed in May that redundancies were underway, with an initial 150 positions eliminated as a result of the slowdown in the company's revenue growth. It should be mentioned that the first 150 jobs that got lost were for like their blog department, which if
Which
anybody here
no one reads.
did anybody know that Netflix
It's-
had like a blog? Because
Thank you.
I did not.
It's so funny
guys
how
don't
many
watch the
people
Netflix
just
one?
have like fake laptop jobs like that.
Yeah.
Fake laptop jobs. No,
It's
it's true. That's
recession
a real
time.
thing.
It's
no, it's
over
true.
for you.
You're absolutely correct about that. This is there are so many industries that are way overvalued right now, and we're going to see a massive market correction. Now, obviously, we're going to see a market correction and some serious fallout from the lockdowns, but I think that's also going to be coupled with a complete demolition of all of these bloated industries.
And if you want more examples of Netflix canceling something that would have otherwise stayed there had the economy not started to crash, we have this one from a while back that I forgot to tell everyone about. Netflix cancels Ibram X. Kendi's animated movie Anti-Racist Baby.
Oh, man. Well, there goes my subscription.
No!
I'm kidding. By the way, guys, none of you
Unsubscribed.
should be subscribed to Netflix after Cuties. Come on. I unsubscribed a while before that because there was another really disgusting
What was it?
pedophile. There was a film that they had on Netflix where something, I'll just say something also like very pedophilic occurs in it, and it's not like viewed negatively. I don't want to get into detail about what it is. It's pretty disgusting. But yeah, so I canceled Netflix over that before Cuties. But then you had Cuties, and of course I never looked back. So none of you guys should be using Netflix. They got to go the way of the dinosaur, folks.
Well, the idea here is that they're canceling a lot of the shows that they think aren't going to make them money, the stuff that were vanity projects
It's
for a very long time.
Ironic to me because the way that these streaming platforms just gorged themselves with money during the lockdown period and didn't expect that to backfire.
Well, I don't know if they didn't expect it to at least hold, but then the economy started to tank.
Well,
they
you
should have done it
no,
the
you
second
should
the
have
first.
known
Well, no, but the
shutting
thing is,
down
even
all other industries but their own would backfire on people's wallets.
But also that when we gave out stimulus checks, that this would eventually come back around like a boomerang and affect us. So it says, we're hearing that the cuts are impacting a number of different teams, mostly in the U.S., but also in Asia Pacific, in the Asian Pacific, Europe, Middle East, and Africa, and Latin America. So they must have people employed all over the... I always assumed that most of the jobs were here in the U.S. and that the people working in other countries were contract workers on projects, like if they're filming over there.
So...
right?
I didn't. Well, there was the overall count of like 11,000, which they're probably now more towards like 10,000. But I don't think that would include people who come and go as like independent contractors.
You mentioned this as a vanity project when we're talking about anti-racist baby. I think there's some truth in that. These large companies, they have to tithe to the church of the far left. And so one way to do that, of course, is to produce the kind of content, if you produce media, that they want to see produced. And I just have to say, not producing anti-racist baby is just as bad as producing racist baby. It is not enough to not make a film called Racist Baby. You need to actively be anti-racist baby.
This is true.
And so Netflix has dropped the ball, and a generation of children are going to grow up emulating racism because of that. Really sick.
And they canceled a lot of the stuff that was more activist in nature. They have like first look deals with the Obamas and their production company. I love now also how like all celebrities, like all politicians are forming their own production companies. Yeah. Because they've realized that the average
Like Harry
kid,
and Meghan Markle have
great-
their own production company.
because they
too.
realize that that's how you reach the kids, right?
Well, it's
That-
also, I'm not accusing them of this. It also happens to be a great way to launder money.
yeah.
Great way to launder money, right? Like if in the same way that once I leave office, if I get a book deal,
They'll just
that could be a publishing company really deciding that they value my linguistic skills and want to see me put pen to paper. Or it could mean that while I was in office, I made the right deal by someone or some organization, and now I'm getting a kickback. Same with speaking engagements.
I was going to say speaking
Speaking
engagements
is a big one.
Whenever you see the bloated figures for like what politicians make for speaking engagements, you're like, yeah, that wasn't a payoff.
Yeah.
So it says
I think you could see the same thing with a production company likely happen, where it's like, oh no, yeah, someone wanted to order the production of a series or film or some other short form version of media content, and it just happened to be someone whose back they scratched while they were in office.
We've also got Ted Sarandos confirming that they're going to do ad-supported tier, so you will not get ads on your videos if you pay the full amount now, but if you do choose to do cheaper, we've talked at length about how Freevee and Pluto and all these other streaming platforms that are not ad-free, where you can get the platform for free, but you have to watch ads, are growing in popularity. So they're going to have an ad-supported tier that will just be cheaper.
They're going to have
one.
4 overall tiers. This is just getting way too complicated.
Way too complicated. So we'll see where that goes. But, as long as they didn't make Anti-Racist Baby, I guess, today's a good day. So...
Yeah, honestly, though, anti-racist. So, yes, it's good they're not making it because it's children's content. Children don't know any better and would be brainwashed by it. But I almost want to see what it would have been.
Well,
it would have been really...
I would love to know who's voicing which characters. Who plays the baby?
That's true. Probably some white guy.
Yes, probably. All right, so Snoop Dogg. Mary, do you want to read this one?
Sure. It looks like virtual weed is next for Snoop Dogg.
Maybe him and Ezra Miller can start a virtual weed farm, and then that'll keep Ezra away from children. If they just let him be in the metaverse.
This is the libertarian future.
Yes. Just keep
Next,
Ezra.
Andrew Yang in office.
Keep Ezra in the metaverse so can't actually touch anyone in the real world. That's what we need to do. If we're not going to put him in prison, we got to lock him in the metaverse somewhere.
A new trademark filing suggests the hip-hop icon is planning a digital store called Uncle Snoop's in the metaverse where you can buy virtual cannabis goods. Now, I just want to know, can they get you high?
Yes. Do you get virtually high?
Can you get meta high?
I don't know. That's a very good question.
He's filed for 2 trademark applications that pertain to digital retail stores and virtual cannabis NFTs.
Speaking of money laundering, this seems like a fantastic way to launder money as well. It says it won't.
So many ways. You
Yes.
know, there's no shortage. There's no shortage. By the way, I know this is off topic, but I've just been trying to find panels from Anti-Racist Baby.
The actual book.
Yeah.
You
Because
got it up at Walmart here. Like, it's really funny to go to the Walmart here and see like Mike Rowe's book right next to Anti-Racist Baby.
I would, yeah. It's interesting. There are panels. I'm not sure if I can read it on air. I would hate to take profits from him because I know you guys are all going to go out and buy the book.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna do it. Should we just go straight to Womp Womp? Because I don't know what to say other than digital weed is hilarious. I don't know what the hell, like, who's actually paying money.
We just had to mention it
Yeah.
because I don't really understand the value of cannabis goods that you cannot smoke.
Makes literally no sense.
Those are the only good ones.
It would be like buying virtual
Don't get high,
weightlifting
kids.
equipment. Like, I want some. I need some like a set of free weights in the metaverse so that I can virtually work out.
Okay. Someone said it's something to buy both for the novelty of it and perhaps as something you might be able to exchange for other digital products. So,
Okay.
I mean, he's providing some kind of value, right?
Hey, I'm Team Snoop all the way.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Last one. It's Womp Womp Womp.
I love Womp Womp.
Yes. J.K. Rowling falls for Russian pranksters posing as Zelensky in Zoom call.
She's such a boomer.
She is such a boomer. It's when you read what was actually said, it's really, really funny. So it says, J.K. Rowling fell victim to a hoax played by a pair of Russian pranksters who tricked the author into believing she was speaking with Russian President, how do you pronounce his first name? Vladimir? I would say Vladimir, but it's not Vladimir. Zelensky on a Zoom call. The Harry Potter author was pranked by duo Vovan and Lexus, who victims have included Vice President Kamala Harris, Bernie Sanders, Prince Harry, Billie Eilish, Elton John, and former President George W. Bush. In a video released on YouTube, Rowling sat down with a person she believed to be Zelensky as the impersonators praised her work and made a number of increasingly awkward comments. They do not appear on camera in the recording, but Rowling does. During one moment of the 12-minute video, the prankster said that the lightning bolt on her famous character Harry Potter's forehead looked like the Z, a symbol used on Russian tanks amid its ongoing invasion in Ukraine.
Well, wait, was that the straw that broke the camel's back?
No,
Oh,
it gets worse. It says, in light of the conflict, the pranksters asked Rowling if she would be able to change the symbol of the Ukrainian trident, which is featured on the nation's coat of arms.
Oh, no.
I will look into that, she responded.
The impersonator told her they've been writing Avada Kedavra on their missiles, referring to the most deadly spell in her wizarding world, often called the Killing Curse. She tells them it's a brilliant idea.
No. Oh, my goodness.
They ask about Dumbledore's sexual preference, someone she's previously said was gay.
Yeah, we already knew his sexual
Zelensky says they're hoping Dumbledore hasn't slept with a transgender. Poking at Rowling's strong beliefs on trans people.
So I feel like at this point she must have like realized that something was going on. After learning
poor old woman.
After learning that she wasted her time talking to Russian trolls, her spokesperson told The Hollywood Reporter that the video, which had been edited, is a distorted representation of the conversation, saying that the entire thing was extremely distasteful. We finally have a new Russian hoax, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my goodness! No, you're right.
It's time to find out if Steele was involved in this at all. I need to know if there's a dossier on this as well.
Yeah.
So this is it had to be the Avada Kedavra thing that broke her, right?
I have no idea, but if it didn't, I'm really disappointed. I can't say I have high expectations for her because I don't really know anything about her. I don't know much about J.K. Rowling, but that would that would be a little disheartening. I mean, look, we
our
could all
land.
prank.
You must understand that the weapons are more important now, but we cannot advertise it. I can say in the press that the money was spent on children, and and we will buy and low missiles with them in the UK. So let's do that.
Okay, I understand completely.
And by the way, I ordered that our fighters write Abacadabra.
Abacadabra.
Yeah.
Exactly.
On the missiles that we will launch at Donetsk and Lugansk. So how do you like this joke?
I love the joke.
Hold on a second.
Finally, tell me a secret.
No.
I'm interested. As
Thank
your
you.
fan, is Dumbledore gay? I won't tell anyone. And who did
I
he
won't
sleep
tell
with?
anyone.
I said in 2007 that I always saw Dumbledore as gay. That's the truth. In 2007, and it was a big scandal at the time that I said it. So that's the way I see him. I mean, it's an old man. He's an old man when we see him in the books. So, his love life is no longer very important. But yeah, that's how I see him.
Ow!
I will
That's
never
mean.
tell this
That's
to
really
anyone. So hopefully not with a transgender person.
Oh no.
Oh
How
my
did
goodness!
she
So
fall
here's the
for
thing.
it this long?
She is going to get in more trouble for laughing at the quip about transgender
Yep.
people than she is going to get in for saying it's hilarious that her spell from her children's book is written on a bomb that people are being
That will kill a bunch of
ostensibly
people.
killed with.
Oh,
So
gosh.
also, she said this is deceptively edited. Wow, where have I ever heard anyone say that before? Oh, I know. Anytime anyone's been caught on camera doing anything wrong or ridiculous ever, it's possible it was deceptively edited. We don't really know, but I will say the fact that she repeats the word joke in her response to the joke doesn't help her. So we were actually talking about this with Tim the other day. It's harder to deceptively edit someone when they repeat the question that they were asked in their answer. And so she repeats the question in her answer, which means it's less likely that it's been taken out of context. But it is possible. I mean, he could have told her a different joke and asked her what she thought of it and subbed those words in. It's possible.
It wasn't live. It wasn't live. Like, I imagine that if it was live, she would have gotten about 5 minutes in and been like, holy crap, I am screwed right now. Like, that is incredible. There were some super chats there. Oh, that's womp, womp, womp.
That is a
Womp,
womp for sure.
Yeah.
Joker said, guys, I'm not shipping you. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Seamus
I don't forgive
has to as a Catholic anyways.
No, actually,
so-
I don't have to forgive you
Have
because
to-
you haven't done anything wrong.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Joseph said, I love all trolls. Humor is such a wonderful thing.
Not for J.K. Rowling today, it is not.
No, it's not. I mean, again, it could be deceptively edited. We really don't know. This kind of thing would not be difficult to fake. But does she have a version of it recorded that she can release? I don't know how you could be as high profile as J.K. Rowling and not record interviews you do on your end.
Yep.
But she's also not as tech savvy as members of our generation.
She's
so-
definitely a boomer.
Yeah,
she's definitely
a little bit of a boomer. What is she a boomer or is she Gen X?
She's Gen X.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Same thing. Am I right?
At least I think that I could be wrong about
I
that.
have to say though,
I-
it's
How
hurtful
old
to
is she?
mislabel people in that way.
Thank you.
I was at a family event for Thanksgiving, and I've got cousins who have children who are younger, and so they were running around like calling myself and my brothers and my cousins and people in our age group boomers. It was like my brother
65.
said something to one of them, and they go, "Okay, boomer." I was like, "Excuse me."
She was born in 1965.
So
she
she might be? Or that's like right.
She's like 56.
like a year off of
Yeah.
being a baby boomer, I guess. Joker said, Seamus, watch Naruto, Full Metal Alchemist, or Death Note. They have deep messages and are very clever. There are many others, but these are the ones you must start with.
I don't really have much time for new media,
That's-
especially like an entire series. I knew someone who was a fan of Death Note.
Yeah.
And I did watch a little bit of it with them. That's kind of the only exposure I've really had to anime. And what I saw was compelling, but I never went back to watch it on my own.
One of the hardest parts about doing the show now is I just don't have the time to watch all the stuff that
Other than the things we're reviewing.
that we when we
Also,
review or go to movies, that's one thing. But
Yeah.
if we're watching a show, I'm watching The Old Man right now, but that's weekly. So I can take the shows that are releasing one episode at a time, but I can't just sit down to or 12 new episodes of something and expect it to just watch it all at once.
Also, if I like anime, do I want to find that out about myself?
You will have to reevaluate
do I want
yourself.
to become an anime person?
No.
I don't know if I can afford to.
Seamus,
I think
Really
I'm
look at
dirty
yourself
enough.
in the mirror.
Yeah, I know. Like I don't think I can afford to become the guy who watches anime on
put
top
a
of
weeb
everything
sticker
else.
on his car.
Oh, he'd be a
just
Catholic weeb at that.
Catholic
Exactly.
weeb.
I can't be like the traditionalist Catholic
I know a
conservative
lot of
guy
them-
who watches anime.
They
I
love
can't.
Neon Genesis Evangelion.
I can't take that plunge.
Andrew Arno said, "That's Fred and George Weasley."
I'm assuming that means for the
trolls.
Yeah, the trolls.
Bruce Maximus said, to follow up, Joker, Full Metal Alchemist, Brotherhood, and Berserk are musts.
You are being given a lot of homework, Seamus.
Wow.
Look, I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna watch them. I love you, and I'm not just being closed-minded here. I do not have time. I'm sorry, I don't have time for any new media almost ever. I'm lucky if I get a chance to watch a movie or episode of a TV show that I like. I love you guys, but I don't have time to watch an entire series of something.
Thank you for being so gracious to guest on our show.
Well, no, and of course, and I just want to be honest about that too, because I'm not going to be like, yeah, no, I'll watch it and then not watch it. I'm just being honest. I'm almost certainly not going to be able to find the time to watch it.
I've embraced the power of no. Andy will sometimes hey, you want to go out and skate? I'm like, nope.
Yeah,
I got stuff to do right now.
Look, I'm still a young fella, 27, but I've learned to say no more often. I think that's a lot harder when you're younger.
Yep.
It's like, no, I don't want to, or I just don't have the time.
Busy. All right. Speaking
Someone
of,
said it's the Joker. I'm the Joker, baby. Said Seamus. He said I'm the Joker, baby. No, said Seamus. It's 30 minutes a day. I understand that, but I don't think you understand. I don't want. I don't have 30 extra minutes every day.
He was literally
I
in the
literally
middle of uploading a
when
video when he started on this show.
And I love you guys so much. I love you so much. I really do. But when I have an extra 30 minutes, it's I feel like
maybe I
should be reading something that will educate me or enrich me, or sleeping, or if I am watching something that I really do enjoy and will recharge me. I know it's closed-minded, but I want to be honest with you guys. Joker, I love you. All right, you're the Joker, baby. But I don't have those 30 minutes to throw around. I'm sorry.
Well, since you do not have the 30 minutes, let everyone know where they can find you on social media. Jameis.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yes, you.
Yes, me. So I have a YouTube channel called Freedom Tunes where we literally just uploaded a new cartoon. I think you guys will really enjoy it. It's called I think Lefties
You don't
Lose
know?
It. It's called Lefties Lose It Over Roe Being Overturned. So go there, check it out. I've also got a website, freedomtunes.com. Seamus is anti-culture. How could you, cartoon maker who doesn't watch one of the largest genres of animation? No, I don't watch them. I make them, boy.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's right. So, Freedom Tunes. If you guys want to go over there, we have a new website called freedomtunes.com where we are uploading bonus cartoons every week. If you become a member for $5 a month, every single week, you are going to get an extra video. And we just uploaded a video today, which is 5 minutes long. And if you go behind the paywall, you will get a 12-minute long version of it, which the general audience won't. So go over there, check it out. I love you all so much. And I am so sorry to disappoint you about anime.
No bikini pictures behind the paywall.
No, absolutely not. We don't do that. This is wholesome. This is wholesome stuff. I will warn you, there is some foul language in the extended version of the Libs of TikTok
It's not
review
family-friendly
that we just did.
content.
That particular one is not family-friendly, no.
All right, Mary, there's a couple more there before we go.
Caper2X said, thanks, guys, for a delightful Friday show.
Thank you.
You are so welcome.
Thank you.
Caleb Sherd said, Seamus can be Alexander Anderson from the Hellsing anime, a Catholic priest who hunts ghouls, demons, and vampires. LOL.
That could be you.
So it sounds awesome. And here's the thing. I know what you're doing. You're trying to entice me.
I see.
But I will say this. The other thing I have found, and this isn't always the case, but whenever someo's asked me to watch an anime, it's been 800 episodes long.
That's
these
hard.
shows are really long is the other thing. And I sort of joked about I don't want to become the guy who likes anime, but also I know if I get into it it'll be like, how many episodes will I need to watch to catch up? It's really tough.
They're like, but it really picks up around episode 255.
Yeah.
And you're like, I got to get through the first 255 to get there.
Yeah.
It's not always easy.
Someone else said Mary has orphan vibes, and
It's the hat. It's the hoodie.
I want you
yeah.
guys to know, like, I still love you all, though, and I hope, I haven't hurt you with my return.
You have.
Well, then I guess you got to hurt people sometimes, but it was not my intention.
He did not mean to do that. Mary, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram and WeChat at Closer Kitty, and whenever I post articles on timcast.com, I promote them there.
That she does. Guys, thank you so much for coming to. This was the most, I don't know what today's show was, but it was a lot of fun. It was very different. It was very different today.
Thank you for having me.
No, this was a lot of fun. Guys, if you want to follow me on social media, it's on Instagram at Brett Dasovic. For the show, Pop Culture Crisis, right here on YouTube, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. For social media, we are on Twitter at PopCulture_show, Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. We will be back with another episode on Monday. We'll see you then, guys. Bye.
Bye.